Well, question for you. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of solar energy? Probably solar panels, right? They're one of 3 technologies used to harness the sun's power. Concentrating solar power along with solar heating and cooling are 2 additional methods. Today we'll focus on solar panels, going over how they work, ways to use solar energy, some statistics, and a few misconceptions. Solar technology has been around for longer than you might think. In 1883, American inventor Charles Fritts developed the first usable selenium solar cell. Later, in the mid-1950s, Bell Laboratories stumbled upon materials to make a prototype of a silicon cell, which is used in solar cells today. Solar cells are the individual squares that make up a solar panel, and the cells are made of semiconductor materials.
When you expose it to sunlight, it actually exposes what's called the junction portion of it. And that junction, when it's exposed to sunlight, allows for the flow of electrons. When you allow for that flow of electrons, what ends up happening is you develop a current.
Rick Mason, training director at the Flint-Saginaw Electrical JATC, says these cells make up a module or panel. Multiple panels can be grouped together to make an array.
Run these in series, it goes through and it starts to apply more and more voltage, almost like going through and putting a whole bunch of batteries together.
A standard solar panel output is around 48 volts, which is roughly equivalent to connecting 4 car batteries together. An array of panels usually runs from 400 to 800 volts for residential usage. The current generated from solar panels then goes through an inverter, where the DC power of the panel is converted to AC power.
Common applications you actually have are going to be off-grid, non-grid.
Off-grid would be a system that's not tied to your utility at all, like RVs, boats, and things of that nature.
On-grid is going to be things like utility generation, utility supplemental, which would be basically going through and offsetting the costs in your home. And then you have supplemental backup. So you're offsetting the cost in your home, but you also have batteries that can go through and back up the system itself.
Flushing Community Schools uses an on-grid supplemental system which offsets costs for district buildings. The school district had solar panels installed through a partnership with Standard Solar. This system is expected to offset more than 80% of the district's energy use and save the district an estimated $45,000 per year. According to DecisionData.org, the average savings from solar energy per month in Michigan is just under $100. The Solar Energy Industries Association shows that in 2019, the total solar investment in Michigan was more than $350 million. And overall, the price of installing solar panels has fallen 38% in the last 5 years.
These solar projects are going in because it's actually getting to the point of where building a solar field is actually cheaper than it would be to actually go through and build a coal plant. You talk to people and they're getting a return on their investment in 10 to 12 years.
While it still seems like a lot, Mason says that you could install an array for around $7,000 to $8,000 instead of tens of thousands of dollars a few years back. He says to be realistic about your needs and know how much you want to offset your cost before getting equipment. I know what you're thinking, though. Why bother installing solar panels in cloudy Michigan? Did you know that on a cloudy day, solar panels are still running at 70 to 80% efficiency? Yep, even in cloudy Michigan, solar panels work.
They generate a much larger spectrum of light than what we can see.
Okay.
You're also getting different wavelengths, such as like UV, infrared, and stuff like that's actually generating.
Direction of the solar panel will also impact efficiency. They'll get the most sunlight by facing east and west. Keep them away from trees, fences, anything that might obstruct the sun's rays or leave debris. If you're installing solar panels on your home, you need to have the proper permits and inspections to prevent a system overload, which could start a fire.
If these are out in the sun, they're generating electricity. And per code, you actually have to have a disconnecting means available on the outside of the actual house.
If you are considering installing solar panels on your home, do your homework. Make sure you have all the required permits, use licensed contractors, get proper testing equipment, and know how much energy you want to supplement before getting all of your equipment.